Good evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities, presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about me: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, two-time best-selling author, co-host of the Tammy Collins Marquee radio show, host of Authors on the Rise, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Today we have a very special VIP guest, and her name is Dr. Celeste Owens. A little bit about her. Dr. Celeste is a sought-after international speaker and facilitator whose mission is to equip people to live free and whole through the surrender of spirit, mind, and body. A transformative healer, she uses the Word of God and psychological principles to bring others to total wellness. Dr. Celeste and her husband, Andel, co-founded Dr. Celeste Owens Ministries, an international healing ministry, and traveled the globe sharing the philosophy of surrender. They believe that when God is the center, there's nothing one can't do. Celeste knows all about surrender and its ability to advance. In 2009, in what she calls an Abraham moment, God called her to leave all that she knew, private practice, public speaking, and ministry leadership. And in an act of radical obedience, she did. From that place of humility and surrender, God birthed her first book, The 40-Day Surrender Fast, a devotional designed to help the reader develop a more intimate relationship with God. An accomplished scholar, Dr. Celeste holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology from the State University of New York at Buffalo, a Master of Science in Applied Counseling Psychology from the University of Baltimore, and a Doctorate of Philosophy in Counseling Psychology from the University of Pittsburgh. An 8-year breast cancer survivor, Dr. Celeste has personally experienced the advancing power of surrender. In 2010, she surrendered her diet to God, and through the process of fasting, adopted a clean eating lifestyle. In fact, her personal battle with cancer inspired her to become a certified natural health professional. Now this once self-proclaimed junk food junkie is thriving post-cancer and inspires others to do the same. Dr. Celeste has graced many pulpits and stages, including the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, Pastor John K. Jenkins Sr., Upper Marlboro, Maryland, the Latter Rain Cathedral, Pastor Donald Chisholm, and Victory Grace Center, and Dr. Jasmine Sherlock in Antioch Christian Fellowship, and Bishop George in Kenya, and presented at many numerous conferences and retreats. She has been featured in Essence and Heart and Soul magazines, The Washington Post, and a television guest on Let's Pray. She's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. God has provided an opportunity for Dr. Celeste to meet both the spiritual and physical needs of the poor through her nonprofit organization, Surrender 365, Inc., the missions arm of Dr. Celeste Owens Ministries. Surrender 365, Inc. helps people all over the world to develop a deeper relationship with God and experience the liberating power of surrender through the teaching and preaching of God's Word. Surrender 365, Inc. also facilitates the provision of critically needed goods and services to the poor and needy. Surrender 365, Inc. is a registered business in Kenya, Africa, and the work continues through its various certified ambassadors. Surrender is what Dr. Celeste does. She will continue to encourage others wherever she may go to do God's will in His way all the time. Welcome, Dr. Celeste.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about the conversation we're going to have on today.
Yes, you have an amazing bio.
I see. I'm listening to it like, who is that?
So you please tell the listening audience, Dr. Celeste, more about yourself.
Absolutely. So outside of all the things that Ashley just shared, thank you so much, Ashley, for reading that bio. I'm just really simple. I am the eldest of 8, born to my mom and dad who still live in Buffalo. My dad's a pastor. I have been married to my husband, Andel, for the last 17 years. We have 2 beautiful children, ages 14 and 12. And I really get to live this amazing life where we get to travel the globe teaching a philosophy of surrender. And it has taken me a long time to get here, and it still is a process for me of learning how to just go in God's flow, because there's no other better way to live, and really it's a way to live on purpose without all of the worry and concern and rush and all the things that create for us a life of anxiety and, all that stuff. So I really just get to live out this amazing life simply because I decided to surrender.
I love that. And surrender is so important in letting God lead
really
the
is.
way. It is. So would you please walk us through your entrepreneurial journey? Because I know you went from corporate America to full-time entrepreneurship. You had your Abraham moment. So tell us about that.
Yes, I sure did. So I actually am. I always tell people in my former life, I was a psychologist. So I went to school forever to become a psychologist and was on faculty with the University of Maryland and did some amazing work with them. I was actually a part of a program where we provided counseling services to inner city youth in Baltimore City and loved the work, and then ended up going from there to my own private practice, and I did private practice for about 3 years. Loved private practice, loved the work I did. I actually have a postdoctoral fellowship in trauma, and probably about 90% of the work I did was with survivors of childhood sexual abuse. So it was challenging work, but it was also very rewarding, and I loved what I was doing. And then, as you mentioned, in what I call an Abrahamic moment, I just heard God say, and it was through a conversation I was having with someone else. So I'm not that deep that I hear the audible voice of God. However, I do get to hear him through other people. And I was having a conversation with a couple from my church, and they were talking about how they had left the military. They were almost at the point where they could retire, just a few years out, and they both heard God tell them to leave, to do something different, and how they were just living out his will for their lives. And I thought that was an amazing story, and that's about all I thought it was until after they stopped talking, I heard God myself say, leave everything you're doing. So I was on a national speaking platform. Right, we have to take a pause for that, right, Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was, again, on a national speaking platform in private practice at that time. I was ministry leader at my church. I was doing a lot of amazing things that people call success. And it really came down to, do I trust God to have something better on the other side of my yes? So I'm always encouraging people, no matter how scary it feels, just go towards the yes, give the yes, because it's a promise that what he has is so much better than what you can come up with on your own. So I did say yes. It wasn't the easiest yes. It took about a couple months to wrap my mind around this idea, but I did do it. And in 2010, I came home. So even stepping into this entrepreneurial journey, I didn't even realize what I was walking into. I just knew I was coming home just to hear what the next steps would be. And then the next steps were, it wasn't like get out your pen and paper or get on your computer and we're going to outline this amazing business profile for you or, business plan. It was go ahead and start fasting. I'm like, fasting? Okay, fasting.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing 3 fasts that year. So that was 2010, so 9 years ago. I did 3 fasts that year. The third fast I did, I invited people to fast with me. So they were all 40-day fasts. So the third 40-day fast, I invited people to fast with me. About 100 people said yes. So there we go again with that yes. About 100 people said yes, and I ended up blogging to them every day. It was the scariest thing ever, Ashley, because first of all, I didn't consider myself a writer. Secondly, I didn't know what I was writing about. All I knew is I invited these people because God told me to come and surrender something. So everybody was surrendering something to him through this fast. It wasn't necessarily food. For some people it was food, but for some people it was other things that were keeping them from being connected or hearing from God clearly. So it was social media. It was all sorts of things that people gave up, just all those things that are distractions. So I blogged for 40 days. At the end of those 40 days, people were like, that was amazing. Oh, my goodness, I feel so changed. Or I walked into this business opportunity, or all of my, I was in foreclosure and now my house is fine and we're back on track. Things like that, which is really amazing. And then they started telling other people, you got to go back and do this fast. Celeste did on her blog. You got to go do it. So people were running to the computer, doing the fast. That continued for about, I would say about 6 to 9 months. And then finally someone said to me, I don't want to read it off the computer. Could I print it out, or is it a book? All that time I had wanted to write a book. I was actually, in fact, trying to write a book, not realizing when you're in the flow of God, I had already written a book. So it didn't even occur to me, which is crazy, right? So I ended up getting the book published. I became my own. So that was probably the first thing I did as an entrepreneur. I became my own publishing house. So I own a publishing company called Good Success Publishing, and I ended up publishing my own book. And that book has sold well over 20,000 copies. It's translated into 2 other languages. It is relevant. I tell people from the pulpit to the prison. We go in and do prison ministry around this book. It's just been absolutely incredible, and I couldn't have dreamed it up myself if I tried. If you gave me like a couple of months to try to build up and come up with this plan, I couldn't have come up with it. So it's really been an amazing journey.
Awesome. I love that. And that's what, surrendering to God and submitting and surrendering to Him, that's what happens, right? And
absolutely.
Something that you said also was to go towards the yes. We got to pay attention to that and understand when He's trying to take us to the next level. Sometimes it's going to be very uncomfortable, right? But if you would have never done that, you wouldn't be where you at today.
I wouldn't be on the show with you talking about having a seat at the table.
Right. You wouldn't have been. Like you said, you gave up a lot what people call success, right? And walked into a very scary journey. But look at you now. Your own publishing house, nonprofits. I mean,
absolutely.
Your own publishing house, nonprofits, your own ministry.
Exactly.
So
we have our ministry. We travel the double. In that word, and it's funny that you would say that word because that's been my word for this season, is double favor. And double, period. So I'm so glad you said that because that's the word that I'm looking for, and I keep seeing it show up. So people don't realize that you have to set intentions, especially as visionaries, as entrepreneurs. You have to set your intentions, and my intention in this season is double. So that's exactly what He gave me. Like you said, 100-fold. He gave me double for my yes. And even as we're talking about that yes, that the yes is always scary because what He has planned for you is always bigger than you can imagine. It's not something you can really wrap your small mind around, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean it in truth, is that our minds are so small compared to His glory and compared to the things that He wants to do for us. So anything He calls you to is not going to be something that you're like, oh, that's easy. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, right. No. You're going to be like, oh, no, I'm afraid. I don't want to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Dr. Celeste, tell us about your awesome ministry that you and your husband founded, Dr. Celeste Owens Ministry. Let's talk about
absolutely. Your healing. Yes, absolutely. So it's a healing ministry, and one of the things, if any of your listeners do the 40-day surrender fast, one of the things that God said to me in that fast, in which they'll read, is that He said, your international healing ministry. And it's funny how God, He knows the end from the beginning, and He knows where you're going. So when He says what you are, you could believe it, even though it looks nothing like what He says. I was in my family room, had left all of these other opportunities, left my private practice. We were a one-income family, and I'm sitting in my family room every day, reading my Bible or writing a blog. And He's like, you're an international healing ministry. I was like, international healing ministry. Wow. Really? That's who I am? I don't look like that, but okay. I'm just going to agree with you that that's what I am. And we ended up, so once I wrote the book in 2010, published it in 2011, and then 2012, we stepped into this entrepreneurial role, and my husband and I both founded Dr. Celeste Owens Ministries, and it's been totally a walk of faith, and it's been us listening and then taking steps by faith, and then God opening up amazing doors for us each and every step of the way. It was important for me, and I don't know how important this is for other women, but I just want to throw it out there in this month, as we're celebrating women, is that it was important for me to make sure my husband was included in all these plans. And, more so than it was important to me, it was important to God. because we have a shared destiny. You know, when you have a spouse, you have a shared destiny. And so I approached my husband about us starting this ministry, and he's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, no, we have to do it. So he agreed, and we went ahead and started. I know. He was like, do your thing, go. And we started together, and I think that because there is a scripture that talks about God dwells in unity. And I think because we took that first step together, unified, that God has just really blessed us in an amazing way. So, and it's funny, God said I was international in 2010, and I didn't really step into international work until 2016. So 6 years later, you have to be patient. You have to wait on the Lord and be of good courage. It takes courage to wait that long, because otherwise you see the rest of the world doing what they look like they're doing, because they're telling you they're doing all kind of stuff on social media. You're starting to get antsy. You're starting to say, what am I doing? I'm a big loser. I'm doing nothing. You have to wait with courage on his plan. And if you wait, he will reward you abundantly. And we went international in 2016. And it's just an amazing story how we got there, because it wasn't even like we were looking for it. This bishop out of Kenya found me in 2015 and was like, I was looking for, I happened upon your website, and I love what you're doing. I host a Bishop and Leaders Conference every year. It's like 200 people were there. I was the first woman to speak at this conference. It was absolutely incredible. And then that started our international ministry. So I can't make these things up, Ashley. It's just everything we've had has been because we have waited, because we have listened to the voice of God, and we've walked out with courage, even though we might be afraid, just to do what he's telling us to do.
I love it. And the takeaway is wait with courage on his plan. That is so important.
And
you're right,
really is.
Timing and courage, patience.
Yes. That timing piece is huge. It's huge, because we can really rush some things, and I've been there. Well, I've rushed some things, and it's gotten really messy. You know, where to the point of, I remember one time I rushed something so much it made me almost not want to do ministry anymore. It was like, so why am I doing this? I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore, because I had rushed into a plan, and it was too early. I got connected with the wrong people. So we can really be outside of God's timing, and his timing is really our protection. You know, sometimes we're thinking God's going too slow. Maybe he forgot. He did not forget. He is protecting you, and he is setting up time. He's setting up seasons. He's making sure you're ready. He's making sure that group of people that you're going to approach, whomever, that is the right time and the right season. So I've learned over the last 9 years to not be so much in a rush. And I've really gotten there, too. I'm excited to say that, because it's not easy.
Well, you are a prime example of, his grace and his favor. If you follow him and you submit and surrender. So I commend you, Dr. Celeste. This is an awesome testimony. Awesome. Story and testimony. So could you
Thank you.
You are welcome. Could you please tell listeners about the 40-day surrender fast and how they can get involved if they're looking to do it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Talk about your book.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the 40-Day Surrender Fast, as I mentioned, was written in 2010, and it ended up being a book that I didn't realize I was writing. But then since that time, we've been hosting people through the experience of fasting. So the beauty of the Surrender Fast is it's not your typical fast. I grew up in the church, so I don't know how many other people grew up in the church, but I grew up in a church where fasting was a normal part of our practice. But fasting for us growing up was always from food. It was always, you fast to whatever certain time that you set. Sometimes it could be all day. But it was always from food. And I got used to that type of fasting. There's nothing wrong with that type of fasting, because fasting really simply is putting away something that you like, something that you enjoy, so that you can create an atmosphere where the flesh submits to the spirit. That's really what it is. You're drawing closer to God. That's the whole point of fasting, just getting closer to him. And you sacrifice something. But when God gave me the surrender fast, he was sharing with me through the book and through the process of writing this book that there were some other things that were in the way of people really connecting fully with God and fully with him. And so he invites you to this experience. So there is a pre-fast. So that's another different piece to this book is that there is a pre-fast before you actually start day one of the 40-day fast. So there are 5 pre-fast chapters where you're simply doing just that. You're pre-fasting, you're reading the chapters, and then you're allowing the Holy Spirit to tell you what to give up for the 40 days. We always tell people that it's important to do it as a community. So I'm actually leading a group of women called Thrive Girl Thrive through this fast right now, but all year round people are doing this fast. Churches are doing it. You know, people do it for Lent. People are doing it all year round, but we always say don't do it in isolation. Make sure you do it in collaboration and partnership with others, because 40 days is not a short amount of time to go before God and surrender something that is challenging for you. People have given up chocolate, and that's something they really love. People have given up sodas. Anywhere from around day 14 to day 20-something, you're like, I quit. There's no way I'm going to do this. Why am I doing this again? It's not important. But you have that accountability to say, no, this is why we're doing this. Don't give up. Keep on going, because 40 is God's number of transition. And it's a beautiful way to set yourself up to transition well. So I tell people that this book is for people who are in transition, who need to hear God clearly. So each year we lead people through the experience of fasting throughout the year, but we also come together corporately, and we do a global fast every year, every September to October. And this year is no different. We're doing our 2019 Global Surrender Fast this September 2nd through October 12th. And people can register on our website, surrenderfast2019.com.
I love it. Awesome. So please get involved. The 40-day Surrender Fast is pretty awesome. I'm actually in the group with Dr. Celeste with the Thrive Girl.
Yes.
And I'm actually doing it too. So definitely get involved. And this is definitely awesome. You know, anytime you submit and surrender to God, you are destined to have some great things that are about to hatch and about to develop. They're guaranteed to happen. So anytime that you're giving up things for Him and sacrificing things for Him, it'll always work out. So, Dr. Celeste, I commend you on doing it, you know, that 40-day surrender fast and, you know, creating that space for us to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I've gotten to the place, and this is where I'm hoping that other people get to too, is that I live a fasted lifestyle. So I tell people I fast more days of the year than not. Apparently, I need a lot of fasting. Let's just start there. Maybe other people don't need as much as me, but I need a lot, apparently. So I fast more days of the year than not. So it seems like each time I'm coming off of a fast, I'm like, okay, good, I'm going to take a break. And then someone comes along, like I had just finished fasting with my mentees in Kenya, and then Dr. Marcy Ross comes along with this Thrive Girl. And I'm like, seriously? I'm about to fast again 2 weeks later? Really? Okay, God. All right. And then even on we're midway through this Thrive Girl fast, and someone else has already brought up, hey, we need to do another one. I'm like, yeah, that's the story of my life. There we go. Let's just keep on fasting.
Well, that lets you know that you're walking in God's purpose and in your passion. So that's pretty awesome.
Yep, you're right. In the passion and what He has created and called me to do. That's absolutely right. So I love it. So I encourage people to get involved. This sounds scary sometimes. People are like, 40 days? What? No way. But it is so worth it. It's so worth going through the experience.
Yes, so please get involved. Please reach out to Dr. Celeste. She's having a global one starting in September 2nd through October 12th. Please get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And people, and if there's another thing, 40 is God's number of transition, but it also is the number that He uses to break a stronghold. And I know so many people have so many things that pull on them that they seem like they cannot be free from. This fast is good from that kind of freedom. So just real quick, there was one lady who had been smoking for years, decades. And her sister had called her and said, hey, I'm going to be doing this 40-day fast. I know you've been wanting to stop smoking. Maybe you could do the fast with us. And she's like, I've tried so many times. No, thank you. And her sister, she's like, oh, come on, please. Yeah. So then she finally, I don't know how many days it was, but she was just like, yeah, all right, I'll try it. What's the name of it again? So she said 40-day surrender fast. She said once she's decided, I'm going to do this 40-day surrender fast, she said the taste of smoking left her, like no desire to smoke. She hadn't even started the fast. We talked about this just moments ago, right, Ashley? Your yes, there's something incredible on the other side of your yes. All she did was say, yes, I'll do it, and the whole taste of smoking left her. So she did the fast, but she didn't have to surrender cigarettes because she didn't have a desire for them anymore. So she ended up surrendering something else. But it's just incredible how God responds to our obedience, our radical obedience, and our yes.
Yes, it is. That is amazing. And that's,
yeah.
I mean, you have testimony after testimony that it works.
Oh, I hear from people probably every day that are doing this fast. People are doing it all over the place and just, hey, I got to tell you what happened while I fasted. Yeah, so many testimonies.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Celeste, you have all these great things going on in your life. So it leads me to my next question. What did failure teach you?
Wow. That's a great question. You know what? Failure is an incredible teacher. And people often do not step into what is fearful or do not say yes because they're trying to manage their success. But there's no greater success than to allow yourself to get to a place where you don't know what you're doing and you might do it wrong because God has the best plan. When he says, I will work all things together for your good, he means it. So there have been times when things have not gone the way I wanted. And I have failed at some things as well. But I always think, you know what, there has to be something better than this. Even though this hurt my feelings, even though I feel like I don't want to get up and do this over again the next day, once I get back up, I realize failure teaches you a lot. First of all, it teaches you what not to do. Let's start there. It teaches you what not to do. But it also it has taught me I'm stronger than I thought. Oh, I failed at that. I got back up. I'm doing it again. I'm stronger than I thought. And then it strengthens you, and you keep going. But there's no way to have great success without great failure. There's just no way to learn otherwise. So you have to keep going. You have to get some no's. You have to make some mistakes. But again, he works it together for our good, and you will see greatness come from even the failures.
Yes, you will, and it's a lesson. Dust yourself off and keep doing it and do it better the next time.
Going.
I agree,
Yep, and do it better.
So what did success teach you? Because failure taught you that, to get back up, not dust yourself off and do it again and do it better. What did success teach you? Success
has taught me so this is interesting that you asked that question because I've been thinking about this. Because sometimes success gives people the big head. It gives me the opposite. Success teaches me over and over again humility because I have succeeded in a major way in several different areas of my life, and I know without a doubt I could not have done it on my own. So each time I succeed, I get to see the glory of God, and it humbles me to know, girl, if you ever think you're doing this on your own, you have lost your mind. It's all him all day long, every day. And it just teaches me to stay humble because I can't do it in my own strength.
I love that because I'm a big believer in staying humble, not just to be saying it because of experiences I've went through. You have to stay humble.
You do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what can we expect from you in the future, Dr. Celeste? I know you already done started 2019 off with some awesome things. So what can we expect from you for the rest of this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. One is I just finished a book that I think is a game changer, and it's called Making Peace with Hunger, and it's for those tired of losing the food battle because there are so many people who go through this fasting experience or any part of their life, and they're like, I'm successful in all these areas, but I am not successful in the area of food. I keep eating things that I know are not good for me. I know I'm pushing my body or have gotten my body to a place of disease, and I want to be better. I want to stop being a slave to food. So I wrote this book. It's coming out March 26th, and it's called Making Peace with Hunger, because if you can make peace with hunger, with food, if you can win the food game, you can actually win at your destiny. People don't realize that food and you mastering that thing is tied to your destiny. And I talk about it in the book, and I talk about the psychology of food, because if you don't change your mindset, you can't change your behavior. So anything I ever produce is always about changing your mind. So really the book is about the psychology of food, why you're so drawn to food, what that connection is all about. It is not necessarily about being overweight. It's about being enslaved to something that should not have such a strong, significant hold on you. So people have been asking for this type of work from me. I'm a certified natural health professional, so I've produced, and I'm hoping it really helps people. So that's one of the things I've done, this book, Making Peace with Hunger. We have our Global Surrender Fast coming up. I have tons of speaking engagements coming up. One of them that I'm really especially excited about is if you're in the D.C., Maryland area, or if you want to travel, I'm connected with the ubiquitous extravaganza. You could say it's a really huge event here in the DMV for women of color. Thousands of women come through, about 10,000 women. So I'll be one of the featured speakers there, and we're actually going to invite the entire ubiquitous crew to do the Global Surrender Fast. So it's so exciting, the opportunities that God has coming up for our ministry.
Awesome. Well, super congratulations in advance, Dr. Celeste, for all these amazing things that you have going on. Making Peace with Hunger. Please get her book when it comes out. I know it's going to be a bestseller. I already know.
Yes, thank you.
Your Global Surrender Fast, and you're also all your speaking engagements, and your big one that's coming up in D.C. So please support Dr. Celeste on all of her endeavors, and I wish you many blessings, Dr. Celeste, and everything that you're going to do. So would you please tell the listeners how they can follow, contact you, and purchase your services? How can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you so much, Ashley, for this opportunity. I really appreciate you. If you all want to stay in contact with me, you can find me very easily. My handle on every social media platform, and also my website, is drcelesteowens.com, and my handle is @drceleste. So Dr. is DR, drcelesteowens.com.
Awesome. So please follow and support her. Again, Dr. Celeste, thank you so much for taking
my
time
pleasure.
For your very busy schedule to let me interview you today. Many, many blessings to you, and I can't wait to see all the great things God is going to continue to birth from you.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Be blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So I would like to give a special thanks to two of my mentors, Tammy Collins-Marquis and John Schamberger. Also, I would like to give a special thanks to Dr. Larry White Sr. and author Kimberly McLemore. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.